Welcome, Romney breeders and fans here around the ring that are here to watch our Romney show today or just passing through casually. This is our Mallory Complex. We are celebrating the Centennial Eastern States Exposition, and we have a wonderful sheep show here for you this afternoon. Starting out today is the White Romney division of our breed. The Romney breed is a good, strong breed of sheep noted for their high wool quality. Working our show today is Ryan Hendricks from Leonardville, Kansas. Ryan is a very noted family, has a very elite flock of Columbias, natural collards, and now also involved in the Lincoln breed as well. So Ryan works in the agronomy program in Kansas, and let's give him a nice welcome here this afternoon. Ryan Hendricks, our judge here today. He'll be working here this afternoon and tomorrow, and that will complete his term here at our first half of Week 2 session of the Big E.
A very nice yearling Romney buck here to start the Romney show off with, and certainly wish there's a few more out here because this buck could certainly stand some more competition. A very uniform fleece buck, a lot of character to that fleece, just really carries that uniformity exceptionally well back into that breech. But here's a big long top, long handling kind of a buck. He's standing on good bone. He's really easy, free and easy in his travels, and a sheep that's pretty sound down his top. A big head on him, very masculine in his overall type and kind. Just a very nice Romney ram to start the show with.
Our white yearling ram class was won by Megan Higgins with Birds of a Feather Farm in Coventry, Connecticut, with Higgins 1521. That winning ram weighed 275 pounds. He was out of Maria Rooney Silver Creek, 565 stud, and a Morton Dam.
two very nice Romney buck lambs to evaluate here, and some differences a little bit in their fleeces. The buck we're going to start with for me today, I really love the fleece on this ram. Just exceptionally bold in this crimp. Beautiful lock formation on this ram's fleece, and here's a buck that really carries it extremely uniform from top to bottom and front to back, and a buck that certainly a big-footed kind of a ram and a lot of bone to him. Here's a buck that's extremely long handling and long hind saddle, and for me the advantage with this buck, you get up in front of him, he's just a little neater in his front end, he's just a little bit tidier in terms of the way that he comes together up through that chest floor for me today. But in terms of his fleece, I ideally prefer it. It's a little bolder, crimp fleece. For me, a little more lustrous than what we have in the fleece on the ram in second. In the ram in second here, you really like the design of this ram. He's maybe not near as smooth over his top there behind his shoulders. A ram that maybe you like the depth that he's got, and he's got some depth of flank to him. Maybe as we look at him here in a year or so, I don't know if he's going to be quite as large of a ram as the ram that we're going to start the class with. But he's a buck that is uniform in his fleece, just not quite as bold and not as lustrous as the fleece on the ram that we're starting with today. Two very nice headed, very sound kind of Romney rams with uniform fleeces. Congratulations.
We need to weigh these two, and then we're going to bring them back and pick a senior champion reserve from these three. All right, we need to bring our first place yearling ram. Bring him on in. Megan, he'll come over here in front of the judge right over here by the camera. Charlene, you're going to come right over here towards us too. We need the second place ram lamb in the ring, please. And our class will be complete. All right, competing here for our senior champion honors, we have the first place yearling ram was bred and owned by Birds of a Feather Farm in Connecticut on Higgins 1521. The yearling weighed 275. First place in our senior ram lamb went to Little Hooves Romneys of Moorestown, New Jersey, ring 152, and he weighed 157. And the runner-up in that class was exhibited by Hillary Chapin Smiling Sheep Farm of Milton, New Hampshire, with Chapin 180, and he was out of Southern Oregon Romneys 155, and he weighed 165.
For your senior champion ram, we've got three rams out here that are exceptionally good in their type and kind, and very good fleeced rams from end to end. And you can kind of split hairs a little bit in the fleeces on which ones you prefer. And that's one thing I really love about the Romney breed is it really gets me excited to look at the fleeces on these sheep. I just think they're extraordinary, and really enjoy looking at the fleeces on these sheep. But very good rams. I'll go out and I'll select your senior and reserve senior champion rams.
Little Hooves Romneys win the senior champion, and Hillary Chapin with the reserve senior champion ram.
this class for me sorts itself pretty easy when you get to fleecing these sheep, and I think we have an obvious winner from that aspect in the buck that we're starting with. I really like the boldness of this fleece and the luster and the character from end to end, and he's uniform enough for me from front to back and top to bottom. A buck that maybe doesn't want to quite cooperate today, but maybe I'd like to change him just the way that he gets out and he travels about the ring. But from a fleece standpoint, this buck just kind of wins the class for me fairly handily. Buck here in second place, I really like the dimension to this sheep. I really like the way he's put together, extremely smooth down his top. Here's a ram that I don't have as much character, I guess, to that fleece when I analyze it and part it and look at him and compare him to the first place buck that we're starting with. But another sound-footed, sound-made kind of a Romney ram, extremely level in his design, very nice square tail head on him, very attractive from the profile. Ram here in third, I really like the thickness in this sheep, and he's really stout from the ground up, and he's stout from the top shape, and you get your hands on him. For me, where he just kind of runs out of steam is when I part his fleece. He's a little finer fleeced ram than the two rams above him, and he's certainly within the Romney standards, but when I look at that fleece, I just don't see as much character. Doesn't quite have as much luster to that fleece, and uniformity, he's pretty good, except maybe change it a little bit as we get down a little lower on the side. But when you analyze his fleece, just doesn't quite hold up to the two rams above him, but three nice Romney rams.
Our junior ram lamb has entered the ring. We just have one entry in this class, so we'll need those winter ram lambs back here nearby. First place in the intermediate ram lamb class went to Little Hooves Romneys of New Jersey, ring number 153 on a lamb that weighed 155. That was Little Hooves, 626. In second place was also Little Hooves, ring 157, and he weighed 149. And in third place was Emma Morton of Chepachet, Rhode Island, with Morton 132, out of Julian and Moore 315, and he weighed 164.
Again, only one entry in this class, and here's a ram that certainly could handle quite a bit more competition, and I wish he had that out here today, but it is what it is. We've got a really good Romney, beautiful-headed buck. He's very masculine in his design, but yet he's still attractive on the profile. He's a level-topped ram, and a ram that, for me, he's adequate in his fleece. You really like the amount of thickness to this buck. Really square-made, kind of attractive ram when you take a look at him. But you get up front, just really like his Romney breed type for me. Another good-footed kind of a ram. Maybe ideally like to see him maybe move a little smoother when he gets out going. But I think he's just kind of a little tired today. But very nice Romney ram. Congratulations.
We just had the one, and he was exhibited by Catherine Hiromas, Winding Wicks Farm, Chichester, New Hampshire, with Winding Wicks 30. And he was also first place in our junior show. There's only one pair of ram lambs, so bring them onto the ring. That lamb in the last class weighed 131 pounds. First in our pair of Ram Lamb class went to Little Hooves Romneys of Morristown, New Jersey. Our intermediate Ram Lamb class, first and second, were both entries from Little Hooves Romneys. And our winter Ram Lamb, or junior Ram Lamb class winner, went to Catherine Horomas.
Very nice junior bucks out here, and we've got three nice rams that are all good fleeced. And for me, I think the difference today for champion ram, we're going to come up here and use our first and second early bucks for your junior champion rams. I think the fleeces on them, just in terms of the character and the luster of those fleeces, kind of excel them up there pretty easy for me. And that's taking nothing away from our late buck lamb down here. Just not quite as much character to that fleece. Maybe just gives up a touch uniformity as you get a little lower on the side, but still a very good Romney ram lamb. Thank you.
That's Little Hooves with both the junior and reserve junior champion rams. Now we're about to pick our open show grand and reserve, and then we'll judge our junior show champion. Our senior champion ram honors went to Little Hooves Romney's Smiling Sheep with the reserve senior, and Little Hooves with both our junior champion, reserve junior champion rams.
For your overall champion ram, we're going to use your senior champion ram here for your overall champion. I really like the fleece on this buck, but he's a really level-made kind of a ram, and I think when he gets out and moves, he's just maybe a little sounder in terms of his feet and legs, and a little bit out of his hip for me. And for reserve, we're going to use your reserve senior champion ram. He'll be your reserve overall. Really a stout-made, solid-made kind of a ram from end to end. Just beautiful Romney breed type to him, and good fleeces. Congratulations.
Little Hooves with the grand champion, Smiling Sheep with reserve. Congratulations to both of you exhibitors. Now, you junior show exhibitors, we need to bring back Megan Higgins, yearling ram. And Candace Aromas, your junior buck lamb, and we'll pick a champion reserve. Catherine Horomas, we get you in here. Okay, here's our yearling ram from Megan Higgins. And we have Catherine Horomas and her ram lamb. We're going to pick a champion or reserve from these two from our junior Romney exhibitors.
For your junior show champion ram, we're going to use your yearling ram. He'll be your junior show champion ram. I really like the power out of this buck, really a long top kind of a ram. And taking nothing away from our buck lamb here, which is going to be your reserve junior show champion. Just maybe not quite the uniformity in that fleece, but I will say he's got more character to that fleece than what we have in our yearling buck. I just like the uniformity a little bit more in our yearling ram. Congratulations.
Megan Higgins with the grand and Catherine Horomas with the reserve grand champion ram. This is our class of white Romney yearling ewes. The Romney breed, when we talk about them being white, we also have natural colored or black fleeced Romneys. And we're going to judge that division here when we finish judging the whites. The ewes that are out here in the ring are from about a year and a half to approaching 2 years of age. They'll be going back into the flocks where they came from and producing offspring that, if they're good enough, will remain in the breeding programs, and if not, they'll be going to market. The Romney breed is an excellent breed of sheep to convert grass and hay to good red meat. They also have a wonderful fleece about them. You'll notice a nice bright luster about them. They're a real clean looking animal, easy disposition, good farm flock animal to have. So if you'd like to follow along our show and talk to any of these people, most of them would have some breeding sheep for you to buy if you'd like to. On each of these exhibitors' hips or maybe on their pocket, you'll see a number, and that's the ring number that goes with the information about each of these animals. So if you'd like to find out about where they're from, or maybe if you spot one that is of interest to you, you can check in the catalog, the breeding behind it, and also who the owner is and how to get a hold of them. So we certainly invite you to check that. If you'd like to establish a flock or buy some new Romneys, there's a good number of Romneys in the New York sale coming up in 3 weeks over in Rhinebeck, October 14 and 15 weekend. We have several breeds of sheep, and there's also used equipment will be sold this year at the New York sale as well. So if you'd like to buy some Romneys or many other breeds of sheep, we have catalogs available over by the bleachers too. We'll try to keep these sheep moved here towards the picture stand side for the benefit of those watching our web stream at this time. We do have a live web stream here of our sheep show, so we want to try to let them see this class as well as we can right here.
Well, if any of the folks standing around watching the Romney show is interested in getting in the Romney business, I would highly suggest that you talk to these exhibitors, because this is an excellent class of yearling ewes. Some fleece differences, some character differences in these fleeces, and some uniformity issues, I guess, with some. But for the top 7 ewes here, I think we've got some pretty good fleeces and some minute differences in sorting out some uniformity, I think. But good sound sheep. I think they're sheep that have some natural thickness. For me, this ewe that we're going to start with, I just think she's the most complete ewe for me when I get my hands on her. Just tremendously thick down her top, and she's very smooth in her design, and everything about her just tells me she's a very maternal ewe. She's a very attractive ewe. When you get up in front of her and take a look at her, she's just really smooth made, and she's got a beautiful head on her, and she's dark in her points, and you get into her fleece, and she's uniform. And I think for me, just a little bolder fleece on this first place ewe than our second ewe. This ewe in first here, just extremely level in her design, and just a very nice ewe. And I'll be the first to admit that when she gets in motion, maybe I'd like to see her just free up just a little bit for me, but I just really like this ewe. I think she's extremely complete. The ewe here in second, a very classy ewe. She's very elegant on the side profile, and she's a ewe that, for me, handles extremely level down her top, and she's really square out into a pretty good hip on this ewe. For me, just not quite as much thickness and natural muscling down the top on this ewe. I think she just gives up a little bit in terms of that natural thickness for me today. Maybe just not quite the boldness to that fleece is what we have in the ewe that we're starting with, but another very complete kind of a ewe. Just gives up just a little bit of power in terms of her overall thickness to the ewe we're starting with. Real deep-bodied, deep flank kind of a ewe here in third place, and she's a little bolder about her fleece than our second place ewe. For me, this ewe just kind of gets a little bit more common, I guess, or maybe just a little bit more broody, I guess, at this point. If I could kind of feminine her, make her a little more feminine, like the two ewes that we're starting with, we might be able to slide her up a little bit. But another good uniform fleeced ewe, pretty headed ewe, and she's elegant in terms of her breed type. Ewe here in fourth place, a little shorter bodied sheep when you handle her, and maybe not quite as level in her design, just maybe doesn't hold herself together near as well as the ewes above her. I just maybe like to strengthen her top up just a little bit when I get my hands on her. She just gives up a little bit of levelness down that top, maybe just a little bit bigger fronted in terms of her chest floor and things, but you really like the bone and the foot size to her. Very broody in her overall type and kind. Another good fleeced Romney ewe. Ewe here in fifth place, real long-sided, a really clean-fronted kind of a ewe. She just kind of lacks in terms of the boldness to her fleece than the ewes that we have above her today, but another really good-headed kind of a ewe that you really like that length of body, just maybe gives up the boldness of fleece. We get on down, we've got some awful good yearling ewes that have some good size to them, maybe some fleece characteristics in terms of luster and character to those fleeces. Get a little bit staler, maybe just not quite the uniformity in a few of them when you get back into the breech. Nice class of Romney yearling ewes.
You can line up your pair of entries at this time, your pairs of Romney yearling ewes. Here's the placings on the pair of yearling ewe class. First place honors went to Emma Morton of Chepachet, Rhode Island. With Morton 122, she weighed 215 and was the daughter of Pitchfork 688. In second place was Hillary Chapin, Smiling Sheep Farm, with Chapin 163, sired by Southern Oregon 1036. She weighed 174. In third place was Elora Chapin, Smiling Sheep, ring number 162, with Chapin 148, and that was on a lamb also sired by Southern Oregon Romneys. And that ewe is first place junior. Fourth place in the show went to Emma Morton of Chepachet, Rhode Island. And in fifth place was Hillary Chapin, ring number 164, with Chapin 159. Sixth place honors went to Little Hooves Romneys of Morristown, New Jersey, with Little Hooves 5107. Seventh place was exhibited by Megan Higgins, Birds of a Feather Farm, and that lamb or yearling was second in the junior show. Our eighth place yearling ewe was exhibited by Little Hooves Romneys, followed in ninth by Cadence Higgins. 10th place was shown by Teresa Horomas. 11th place went to Cadence Higgins, and our 12th place yearling ewe was exhibited by Megan Higgins. And for those following down in the book, we'll read them from top down on that class. It will read 10, 3 with a weight of 197, 8, 5, 6, 7, and 4. And on the next page at the top is 2 weighing 174, 12, 9, 11, and 1 with a weight of 215.
Just the one fall ewe lamb here, and the young man certainly could stand quite a bit more competition with this ewe lamb. Very true top kind of a ewe lamb here, and a sheep that very uniform from end to end on that fleece, but really level square tail set on this sheep. She's got some freedom and flexibility within herself to get out and move with some ease. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Cooper. Emma Morton and Hillary Chapin, we need your first and second place yearling ewes back, and we'll select our senior champion ewe of the show. We want to catch you up on that pair class while they're weighing that fall ewe lamb. First place in the pairs went to Emma Morton. Second place honors were won by Hillary Chapin, and in third place was Little Hooves Romneys. Our fourth place pair of yearling ewes were exhibited by Megan Higgins, and Cadence Higgins rounded out that strong class.
119.
The senior ewe lamb that we just exhibited was from the Cooper Chapin Flock Smiling Sheep Farm from Milton, New Hampshire.
For your senior champion and reserve, we're going to go up here and use our first and second place yearling ewes. I think coming out of an awful tough class like that, just really good sound made kind of ewes with good fleeces on them, and that's taking nothing away from our fall ewe lamb. Excellent fleeced ewe lamb here. Certainly she could stand some more competition in her class, but she really ran into some pretty deep water with these yearling ewes here, but congratulations.
Our senior champion ewe goes to Emma Morton and Hillary Chapin with our reserve. For those of you spectators that have stopped by to watch a few minutes of a sheep show here this afternoon, we want to welcome you to our complex. As we mentioned before, Mr. Ryan Hendricks from Kansas is serving as our judge. And as you watch him work, he's going through and handling these animals, and you'll see him parting the fleece and putting his hands down the backs of the animal and also on the rump area. And those are two areas, the rump and over the back, of indicators of the amount of muscling they have underneath that coat of wool. And all of these sheep have a good carcass underneath them, but one of the things we're looking for is an animal that has a lot of meat and muscle down the top and in the leg. The lamb chop is the area that comes from the top of the animal. The leg of lamb is from the rump area, and those are our two primal cuts. So we like to, while we're judging, first of all, have an animal that's got a lot of meat in it. Next thing we like on the Romney and these breeds where we put a lot of emphasis on the quality of wool, he's parting the fleece and looking at the crimp, the density, the luster of that wool and the crimp, and determining which ones he's evaluating have better fleeces than the next one. We like that fleece to also be uniform from the front of the body clear back through the rump as near as we can, so that when we spin it into wool, the fiber is going to be of a good uniform consistency and style. So there's a lot of things he's looking for. In a bit, we're going to watch these animals circle the ring. He's watching them walk as he checks out their feet and legs. He'll also be on a side view looking at the breed character, and that's the element about the face. Each one of these animals here are very similar in the head about them. Each one of our breeds in the barn have breed standards that we need to adhere to. If you look up at the back of the wooden building here behind where we sit, you'll see a bunch of flags that have depictions of the many different breeds of sheep that are shown here at the Big E. Each one is distinctive. They have their own particular look. So we also have a scorecard from each breed that's going to give a rating as to how close these animals meet breed standards. So all of these things he's rolling in his mind while he's judging. He's looking for the breed character. He likes a nice sizable animal, one that's gained very well, that's grown. He also likes animals that in the meat breed or the wool breeds here. Good catch, young lady. Very good catch. One junior to a next. So all these things are rolling through his mind, and that's how we're going to come up with our top placings here in our sheep show today.
Well, I guess if you're going to eat peas, you might as well get both of them out of the pod. And I think on this class, for the most part, these two that we're starting with here, I think are pretty well peas in a pod. The ewe we're going to start with, for me, just extremely elegant ewe lamb, very classy in the way that she's presented and the way she presents herself. Just a super sound female that, for me, really just fell in love with her when I saw her and handled her and looked at her fleece and just kind of had to go with her because she just can't get out of my mind. So she sets up here in top spot pretty easy for me, and you get into her fleece, and she's a bold fleece, and she's a uniform from end to end, but a lot of character and luster to that fleece, and certainly carries that uniformity from side to side and front to back pretty easy for me, and just a very beautiful ewe lamb here, and just really correct and square on her feet and legs, just pretty as a picture, and just awful good ewe lamb. Ewe here in second, like I said, follows are extremely similar in type and kind for me. If anything, maybe this ewe's just got a notch more thickness, but for me, just maybe a hair more into her front end, and maybe just a little quicker in her kind for what she is compared to the ewe that we're starting with. But two really good ewes that are very stamped in their type and just really square in terms of their feet and leg and good fleece. Just two nice ewe lambs to start with. Ewe here in third place, a little longer handling kind of a ewe lamb when you get your hands on her and handle her from that last rib back. But here's a sheep for me that's just maybe not quite as feminine, clean up through that front end and that front chest floor there for me. Just a little longer bodied than a couple of the other ewes in the class when you handle her in terms of that last rib back, hind saddle. I really appreciate that about her, but really true down her top, and she's really beautiful about her head, and I think this is a ewe that's got some potential to her as she goes on. Ewe here in fourth place, really extended fronted ewe, and she's pretty neat up through that front end. Just maybe doesn't come together near as clean for me. When she gets set in motion, she kind of wants to drop her pins a little bit, and for me just kind of slopes off a little bit there at that rump structure, but another good fleeced ewe that's sound in terms of her fleece structure, and a sheep that for me is clean and pretty sound for the most part. Just like to see her keep herself together a little bit when she's set in motion. Ewe here in fifth place, really like the broodiness to this ewe. If I could level her top up, we could really maybe move her up a couple places more. I just like to clean her up down her top line, maybe level her up a little in her top shape there for me to get her up any higher. But a ewe that's really bold in her fleece. She's uniform from end to end and very pretty about her head shape, and she's feminine, but just a little bit bolder up through the front end. But I'd just like to ideally level up her top to get her any higher in this class. Very good class of Romney ewe lambs.
Congratulations, exhibitors. That really was a good, deep set of lambs. Sheep exhibitors, if we've been asked if you could keep that center aisle open, just take your sheep on down between the two rows there, between the Julian and the Deacon pins. If you can just move them down, if they're not coming into this class, we need to keep that center aisle as free as we can and also as clean as we can as well for our guests coming through watching our show. Thank you. Here's the placings in the white intermediate ewe lamb class. Our first place ewe lamb was bred by Hillary Chapin, Smiling Sheep Farm of Milton, New Hampshire. That was ring number 185, and she weighed 129 pounds. She was sired by Southern Oregon, 155. In second was Elora Chapin, Smiling Sheep Farm, with Chapin 188 on a lamb that weighed 124. Third place, and that lamb was first in the junior show. The third place ewe lamb in the show was exhibited by Emma Morton. Ring number 190 on Morton 131, sired by Pitchfork Ranch 786 AI. She weighed 137. And in fourth place was Emma Morton. Ring 189 with Morton 129, also by the same sire. In fifth place, we had Little Hooves Romneys of Morristown, New Jersey, and in sixth place was a lamb from Hillary Chapin. Seventh place honors went to the Emma Morton flock, followed in eighth by Catherine Hieromus, Winding Wicks Farm of Chichester, New Hampshire. Our ninth place ewe lamb was exhibited by Megan Higgins, and in 10th place was Little Hooves Romneys. 11th place honors were won by Megan Higgins to round out the class. And reading those from top down, on the first page is 11-2 with a weight of 124, 6-5, 1 at 129, 7 and 10. And our intermediate second page was 8-4, 3, weighing 137 and 9.
I kind of had to pick out some lesser of the evils, I guess, for me when I look at the fleeces on these sheep to sort them. And the ewe we're going to start with, for me, just by far, when you combine her breed type and her darkness of points and her fleece in terms of the uniformity and the character to it, I think she just excels to the top of the class fairly easy for me today. She's a pretty true-made kind of a ewe lamb down her top. She's pretty square out through her hip for the most part for me, and she's correct enough on her feet and legs, but I really like how dark she is in terms of her points, and then you combine that with the uniformity of fleece, I think she runs up to the top fairly quick. You here in second place, real extended fronted kind of a ewe, and a ewe that for me a little greener in terms of the way that she handles, and not quite as much natural thickness to this ewe lamb, but you get a little lower on the side. I'd like to maybe change the fleece uniformity on this ewe and maybe pull her together just a little bit in terms of her fleece and the uniformity as you get a little lower on the side and you move back into the breech. But again, dark inner points, and she's correct on her feet and legs. Really like that femininity about her front end today. I like her sitting here in second. You here in third place, real thick made kind of a ewe, and for me, if I could just maybe darken her up in terms of her nose there just a little bit, just gets a little bit lighter for me, and I'd just like to maybe T-bar her just a little bit more. But a ewe that certainly a good fleece on her and a lot of character to it. Just maybe like to darken her up a little bit about her head. The ewe we round out the class with, a little smaller in terms of her size and scale, and that's okay. Just maybe loses a little uniformity as you get a little lower on the side. Gives up some of the character to that fleece that we see in a few of the others in the class.
Our junior ewe lamb class was won by Emma Morton with the lamb that weighed 119 pounds. That was ring number 194. Our second place ewe lamb was exhibited by Little Hooves Romneys of New Jersey. With Little Hooves 61.48, she weighed 103. The third place ewe lamb was another lamb from Emma Morton, and she weighed 117. And Teresa Horomas rounded out the class with Winding Wicks 33. Hillary Chapin won our first place pair of ewe lamb class, followed by Emma Morton in second, Little Hooves Romneys from New Jersey in third, and Megan Higgins rounded out the class in fourth place. Okay, let's line up our contestants here. We're going to pick a junior champion ewe and then the overall grand champion Romney ewe of our white show here this afternoon. The ewes competing here for our junior champion ewe. We have the first place intermediate ewe lamb was exhibited by Hillary Chapin. The runner-up will be from Alora Chapin. And in our junior ewe lamb class, Emma Morton placed first, and Little Hooves Romneys had the runner-up.
A pretty quick decision in my mind for your junior champion ewe, and for today, your junior champion and reserve junior champion going to be your first and second early ewe lambs. I really think these are extremely classy ewe lambs that are well built in terms of their structure. Very solid fleece from front to back.
Hillary Chapin with the junior champion ewe, and Elora Chapin with the runner-up. Our contestants here that qualified for our Grand Champion ewe lineup consist of our first place yearling ewe, our senior champion ewe from Emma Morton, Hillary Chapin with the reserve senior champion ewe. Our junior champion ewe honors went to Hillary Chapin and Elora Chapin with the reserve junior champion.
Well, commend the Romney breeders for bringing out an excellent set of sheep. Very good fleeces to look at, and there wasn't too awful many sheep in the ewe show here that I'd call bad fleeced or anything, but some notable differences to sort through on those sheep. But very nice ewe show, and correct. And these are sheep that have some functionality to them and are going to go out and do what they need to do. For your champion ewe today. Boy, there's 4 nice ewes out here, and a guy could do a lot of different things on a lot of different days, and I think maybe if it was a different day, I'd do something different with these ewes, because there wasn't a bad one in the bunch, and just really an exceptional set of females, and I really fell in love with a couple ewes, and they come out of some pretty deep classes, but we'll go out and we'll select your champion and reserve champion Romney ewes. Congratulations.
Our champion ewe goes to Hillary Chapin with the junior ewe lamb, and Emma Morton with the reserve grand champion ewe. Here in our junior show champion ewe selection, these are all the kids, or a lot of them, that showed here with the open show sheep we did here earlier this afternoon. Our first place yearling ewe from the junior division was won by Elora Chapin. Second place honors went to Megan Higgins. Cooper Chapin placed first in the senior ewe lamb class. And in our junior ewe lamb class, Elora Chapin was first. And Catherine Horomas was second. And in our spring ewe lamb class, we just finished up with Teresa Horomas, placed first.
For your junior show champion and reserve you, pretty easy decision on the champion you in my mind. And we're going to go up and use our first place early junior ewe lamb. I really think she come out of an awful tough class and just a really solid made ewe lamb. Very good fleece from end to end and very good about her breed type and her type and kind in general. For reserve, it gets a little closer between our second place there in the early junior class and our yearling ewe. We're going to go ahead and we're going to stay in this same class. We're going to move right over and use this other ewe lamb for the reserve in the junior show. Congratulations.
Congratulations to Catherine Horomis with her reserve champion ewe. Our white exhibitors flock was won by Hillary Chapin Smiling Sheep Farm from Milton, New Hampshire. Second place went to Emma Morton. Third place honors to the Little Hooves Romney flock. And in fourth place was Megan Higgins Birds of a Feather Farm. Our next class will be the breeder's flock. Do any of the first three flocks have any changes? See no changes. The breeder's flock will remain in the same place with Hillary Chapin first, Emma Morton second, and third place being won by Little Hooves. Birch Branch Romneys of Lee, New Hampshire have given an added award for the breeder's flock in both the white and natural colored Romney divisions. So we do want to thank Birch Branch Romneys, Catherine Moore in Lee, New Hampshire for donating that nice tote bag. Congratulations and thank you to the Moore. We have one get of sire entered, and then we're going to pick our best headed Romney, period. It's the best headed ram or ewe, and then we'll select our outstanding fleece, our best fleece winner. Congratulations to Catherine Horomas for her best-headed Romney with her ram lamb. Okay, everybody's asked to bring up one animal for the selection of your best fleece. We're going to have you turn around and face back to the east at this time. We're going to select our overall White Romney best fleece sheep, ram or ewe. And our Best Fleece Award goes to Alora Chapin with her ewe lamb. Congratulations. Here comes Emma Morton. And Emma, on behalf of the Eastern States Exposition, we are proud to present to you the Premier Breeder Award here at our Northeast Regional Romney Show. And here comes Charlene Carlisle, representing Little Hooves Romneys, and she wins the Premier Exhibitor Award here at the Big E. Congratulations, Charlene. And Megan Higgins wins a cash prize donated by the Birds of a Feather Flock for the Junior Show Premier Exhibitor. Let's give Megan Higgins a nice round of applause as well. If anybody has a Romney they want to get a quick picture of, we have a couple of minutes. 5 minutes for the start of our natural colored show.
three big bucks here to start the natural colored Romney show off with, and I think if we weren't maybe putting as much emphasis on fleeces as what we need to at these sheep, I might do some things different in terms of their structure and stuff to align them. But looking at their fleeces and everything, for me, the buck that we're starting with, for me, has the most character to that fleece, and he's super uniform from end to end, and a very bright, lustrous fleece to him, a very bold crimp to that, and I really like the lock formation to this fleece, but really carries that uniformity extremely well back through that lower britch. But yet he's an upstanding kind of a buck. He's a big-footed, powerfully constructed from the foundation aspect of things, and yet he's got some length and some thickness down his top. Buck here in second, maybe a little taller outline kind of a ram, but he's a ram that when you get your hands on him, just not quite as much natural thickness down his top. And I'm sure, kind of a similar story here with the third place buck, and I'm sure these bucks have probably seen some use maybe and maybe worn off a little bit of condition, and that's to be expected. But a buck here in second just gives up maybe a little natural thickness down his top when you compare him to the buck we're starting with. Buck here in third place, big outline buck, and I really like that about him. He's really deep-sided, and he's really powerful in terms of his foot and his bone. Here's a buck that, for me, his fleece is just a little bit harsher. I'd just maybe like to make it a little more lustrous, maybe give it a little softer handle to that fleece today. He's uniform enough for me from end to end, just not quite as much character to that fleece.
Congratulations, exhibitors, on a nice set of rams there. Let's get weights on them before we bring in our senior ram lambs. Our yearling ram class we just finished up was won by the class winner was Courtney Lyman of Massachusetts, ring number 211 with Thistledown 508, and the winning ram weighed 193. In second place was Little Hooves Romney's, ring number 210 on a ram that weighed 235, and rounding out the class was also Little Hooves, ring number 212 with Little Hooves 561, sired by Barnes 193, and he weighed 242.
Two very good bucks here that both are good fleece bucks, and some minute differences in these fleeces sort these bucks for me pretty handily. Buck we're going to start with, I really like the profile of this ram. Just he's an extremely level-made kind of a buck, and a ram that's really straight down that top, but you get into his fleece, and just a beautiful fleece on this buck from one end to the other. Very bold fleece for me, and I really like the lock formation to this fleece. Really a soft fleece, and I think for me the luster and the character is just a little bit higher on this fleece for me. Kind of propels him to first pretty easy for me today. Buck here in second, I really like the dock set on this ram. Really square, really thick out through that hip. Maybe just gives up a tick of length of body to the ram that is in front of him, but really I think you get into the fleece, he's uniform and bold in terms of his fleece. Maybe not quite the character and the luster to that fleece today as what we have in the buck we're starting with, but two nice rams.
Congratulations. They were won by Hillary Chapin, and runner-up is from the Little Hooves flock. We're going to pick our senior champion right here when we get these two rams weighed. So if you want to bring those first and second place bucks on out and get them lined up, we'll select a senior champion reserve in just a moment. Here in our senior champion ram lineup again, we have Courtney Lyman with her first place yearling ram, Little Hooves Romney's with the second place ram, Smiling Sheep, Hillary Chapin with their first place here, senior ram lamb, and Little Hooves, Charlene Carlisle with the runner-up. Here in that senior ram lamb class, we'll share the information here. First place honors on the Hillary Chapin ram was Silver Creek 161, and he weighed 170. The second place ram from Little Hooves Romney was Little Hooves 601, and he weighed 171.
For your senior champion, natural colored Romney today, we got a couple bucks I think that really kind of fit the bill for me a little easier today, and these are your two first place bucks here. I think from a fleece aspect, they kind of separate themselves off, but when we get into your senior champion buck, we're going to come up, we're going to use the first place yearling buck. I really like the fleece on this ram, just an exceptionally well fleeced buck, a lot of luster and a lot of character to that fleece. For reserved senior champion, we're going to come down and use the first place fall buck. I think he follows similar in type and kind, maybe just gives up some of that length of body to the buck that we're using for your senior champion today.
Congratulations, Courtney Lyman, with your senior champion ram, and to Hillary Chapin with your reserve. Okay, let's bring those intermediate Ram Lambs on out to the ring. We'll bring our intermediates. They will be junior champion and reserve. There are no springers. So right after we judge this class, we'll go into our pairs.
two very good bucks up here in 1 and 2, and for me the difference in these fleeces, I like the boldness to this first place buck's fleece. Just an exceptionally bold fleece. He's very uniform from end to end, and here's a sheep for me that very straight down his top, and he has a little bit more of an advantage in that aspect than the buck that we have here in second. He's a ram that you handle him. He's got some natural thickness to him, but you get into his fleece, just a lot of character and boldness to that cramp. The buck here in second place, a little finer in his fleece, not quite as bold. Here's a buck that for me, he's soft enough and has enough luster to that fleece, just not quite the boldness to that fleece as we have in the buck that we're starting with. Maybe just not quite as clean up through that front end as what we have in the ram that we're starting with, but still a very good ram here in second. Buck here in third place, really like the lock formation to this fleece. Here's a ram that I'd like to maybe level him up about that top just a little bit to get him up any higher today, but another good deep-bodied kind of a ram. Very good head on this buck. Just a sheep that I'd maybe like to level that top up to do some things differently with him. The buck here in fourth place kind of gets outpowered a little bit, kind of loses a little bit of length of body for me today. Maybe just not quite the character to that fleece that we have in the three above him.
Congratulations, exhibitors. We'll weigh these, and those of you with pairs of ram lambs can work them on into the ring. We just have one pair entry in our show. First place in this class went to Hillary Chapin of Smiling Sheep Farm, with Chapin 204 out of Southern Oregon 155. Our second place ram lamb was exhibited by Teresa Horomas of Chichester, New Hampshire, with Winding Wicks 28, and he was sired by Chapin 66 and dammed by Little Hooves 387. In third place was Cadence Higgins of Coventry, Connecticut, with Higgins Lucifer 1634 out of Southern Oregon Romney's 207. And our final ram lamb in class was from Megan Higgins, Birds of a Feather Farm, with Higgins 1637, also sired by the Southern Oregon Romneys 207. The weights on those, our class-winning ram weighed 125 of Chapin's. The second place Horomas ram weighed 141, and our third place ram from Cadence Higgins weighed 152. And our pair of ram lambs class is about to be won by Hillary Chapin. Now we're going to pick a junior champion, reserve junior champion ram, followed by the grand champion ram lineups. Yeah, the junior and reserve champion were the first and second intermediates, so Hillary, first and second place intermediates were automatically the junior and reserve junior champions. Teresa Horomas, we need your second place intermediate ram lamb. He was the reserve junior champion ram, as there are no springbucks in the lineup. Courtney Lyman had our senior champion ram with the yearling, and Hillary Chapin won reserve senior champion rams with their fall buck. And Hillary Chapin won the junior champion with the first intermediate, and the Horomases with the reserve.
for your champion natural colored Romney. We've got a couple 4 individuals out here that are very nice in their own type and good fleeces on them, and they're sound bucks. Today for your champion natural colored Romney, we're going to come down. We're going to use our junior buck down here. I really like the fleece on this buck and the way he's put together, and I think he's where he's supposed to be at this stage of the game, and just a really good, smooth-made kind of a buck that's built in all aspects very well. And you get into his fleece, just very uniform and a lot of character to it. We're going to come up. We're going to use our senior champion for reserve overall natural colored Romney today. He's a buck that I think is fleece and the characteristics to that exceptionally well. Just not quite as level in his design and made near as well as the buck that we're using for champion today. But congratulations.
Our grand champion ram goes to Hillary Chapin. And Courtney Lyman with the reserve grand champion ram. And now we're going to pick our junior show champion reserve rams. Courtney with the grand champion ram. And Teresa Horomas with the reserve champion. All right, let's bring in our natural colored yearling ewes at this time.
a very nice class of natural colored Romney ewes here, and some differences in these sheep in terms of their fleece and the grade, and looking at these fleeces in terms of how they've been worked, and just some good uniformity all the way through for the most part. Maybe some external factors on a few of them that kind of change viewing them and looking at them, but for the most part, good uniform fleeces from end to end. The ewe we're going to start the class off with, she's obviously the big ewe in the class, and she's really well made in terms of being level down her top and square out through a big hip on her. But you get into her fleece, and she's super uniform from end to end with a lot of character to that fleece. Very clean, high yielding kind of a fleece, but yet she's got some rib shape and design and some femininity up through the front end. She's not really wanting to cooperate all that well today, but still an awful good yearling ewe. Ewe here in second, I think for me, just follows her, more similar in type and kind in terms of her mass and her dimension and total pounds of sheep. Really smooth, made up through that neck shoulder junction for me today. A ewe that just gives up a little bit of size and maybe some rump shape and thickness back through that hip and rump region to the ewe that we're starting with. Another good fleeced ewe, maybe not quite as much character to that fleece as the ewe that we're starting with, but still an awful good kind of a yearling ewe. Ewe here in third place, a little smaller in terms of her overall size and scale to the two ewes that we start with, but I really like this sheep. You get your hands on her, she's dead level down her top. She's really smooth in terms of the way she's put together. Just maybe like to extend her, maybe trim up her front end just a little bit for a femininity standpoint, maybe extend her just a little bit out through that neck, but very solid made kind of a ewe with a good fleece on her. Ewe here in fourth place, a little smaller scale, a little shorter coupled kind of a ewe, and you handle her maybe not quite as level down her top to the three ewes that we're starting with up here ahead of her, but still an awful good kind of a natural colored Romney ewe. Very good uniform fleece on her and a lot of character to it. Just kind of gets out muscled in terms of the sheep side of things when we get to analyzing her. Ewe here in fifth place. She's a big ewe, and I really like this ewe, and she's level down her top. You get into her fleece, for the most part, she's got some character. Just a harsher handling kind of a fleece when from an exterior standpoint. Maybe just like to soften her up just a little. Just kind of gives me a raw feel when I get into it. But you get into her fleece, and she's uniform enough for me today. Just not quite maybe as dressed up as some of the other ewes here at the dance. Ewe we kind of round the class out with here. This ewe, I just like to add a little condition to this ewe. She just maybe not quite carrying enough for me down her top in terms of muscle shape and actually condition for me today. Gets a little cobbier in the front end for me. Good fleeced ewe, just not quite enough sheep there for me in this class.
Here's the placings in our yearling ewe class, and right after this we're going to line up our pairs. We do have two pairs of yearling ewes have been entered. Our first place ewe in the class went to Little Hooves Romneys from Moorestown, New Jersey, with a daughter of Barnes 193. Second place in the class was exhibited by Hillary Chapin, ring 226 with Southern Oregon Romneys 230 out of the Covered Bridge 1309 Ram. And in third place was Cooper Chapin of Smiling Sheep Farm with Chapin 143. Fourth place was exhibited by Hillary Chapin, Smiling Sheep with Chapin 153. Fifth place went to Little Hooves Romneys of Moorestown, New Jersey with Little Hooves 5137. And Courtney Lyman rounded out the class with Little Hooves 5121. Our pair of yearling ewe class was won by Hillary Chapin, and second place went to Little Hooves. Now, those of you following the book back in that yearling ewe class, will give you the weights on those at this time and catch you up. Reading them from top down, one of Little Hooves weighed 180. Next in the line was 342, and two weighed 156, 6 and 5. The 3U weighed 175 of Cooper Chapin's. And our pair of yearling ewes was won by Hillary Chapin, with the runner-up going to the Little Hooves farm. Courtney Lyman has the only senior ewe lamb, so Little Hooves and Hillary Chapin, we're going to need your two yearling ewes back here in just a moment.
Just the one entry in this class, but a ewe lamb that certainly could handle quite a bit more competition. Beautiful fleece on this ewe lamb, very bold in her crimp, very good lock formation to that fleece, carries that uniformity extremely well, and a lot of character and luster to that fleece. But yet, here's a pretty solid made kind of a ewe lamb. It's pretty level down her top. Just maybe it might change the way that she travels about the ring.
Our first place ewe lamb was exhibited by Courtney Lyman with Anchorage Farm 1392. Let's bring in those first and second place yearling ewes, Charlene and Hillary. Bring them right on out. We're going to pick a champion reserve senior and reserve senior champions here of this group. Our senior ewe lamb weighed 100 pounds from Courtney Lyman. And Charlene Carlisle again with the first place yearling, and Hillary Chapin with the runner-up.
For your senior champion ewe, I think we've got two yearling ewes up here that we're going to use for your senior champion and reserve senior champion. I just think they're awful powerful, come out of a pretty good class there, and that's taking nothing away from our senior ewe lamb. Beautiful fleece on this lamb. I think her days will be better as she goes on in time, but congratulations.
Congratulations to Charlene Carlisle with the senior champion ewe, Hillary Chapin with the reserve.
little differences in type and kind in these sheep here, and for me, I found a real well-made ewe lamb, and we're going to run with her up here to the top. I think she's just extremely level in her design and extremely true in all types of the kind of sheep that she is. She's sound on her feet and legs, and still has some guts and some doability to her, but yet she's feminine enough, and she's certainly very attractive from the side profile. But then you get into her fleece, and she's got a good fleece on her from end to end, uniformity and some character to that fleece. I think she runs up to the top pretty quick. You here in second for me, a little more traditional about her head than maybe the ewe here in third. I really like the head on these first two ewes and prefer them a little more than the ewe here in third, and that's what excels this ewe here in second over the third place ewe. A lot of added thickness to this ewe and some bone to her. Maybe not quite as trim up through that front end and clean as the ewe that we're starting with for me today. Gives up a little bit of levelness down her top, but another good fleeced ewe from end to end. Just really like the type and the kind of these first two ewes. Ewe here in third, she's a little bit more extreme in her type and kind, a little higher in her flank, a little more extended in her neck and front end there, and I really like that about her. I just maybe like to just change her head just a little bit for me today. When you compare her to the ewes above her, I prefer that a little more traditional head on those first two ewes for me today, but you really like the extension and the goosiness, I guess, if you will, to a point on this third place ewe. Maybe not as much character to that fleece as the two above them here, but still another good fleeced ewe in her own right. Ewe here in fourth place, a little smaller package ewe. You get your hands on her, just not quite as level down her top, not quite as square out through that dock as the ewes above her, I think. Maybe just didn't have as much power and width up top of the three ewes here above her. Another good fleece sheep. Really like the color to this ewe. Beautiful head on her, just really stout in terms of her bone work as well. You here in fifth place, a real big outline, big rib kind of a lamb that's maybe not as smooth down that top, maybe just not quite as cleaned up in that fleece today as some of the ewes above her, but still an awful nice class of natural colored Romney ewes.
Congratulations, exhibitors. There are no junior ewe lambs, so we'll go right from here after we weigh these to the pair of ewe lamb class. So if you've got a pair entry, come on in and line them up. In our pair of ewe lamb class, Hillary Chapin placed first, followed by Little Hooves Farm, and third place honors went to Megan Dion. And the first and second place in our intermediate ewe lamb class was the Junior Champion Reserve. At this time, we are ready to pick our grand champion, natural colored ewe of the show. Let's bring in the senior champion in reserve, and in the first and second place intermediate ewe lambs were automatically the junior champion. So let's bring in our 4 entries competing for the grand and reserve grand champion ewe awards here this afternoon. While we're lining these up, we're going to give you the results here of that intermediate ewe lamb class. First place went to Hillary Chapin, and she's right out here in the ring. The runner-up ewe was exhibited by and bred by Megan Higgins, Birds of a Feather Farm. The first place ewe lamb weighed 128, and second place weighed 137. The third place ewe of Little Hooves Romneys, ranked 233, weighed 136. She was followed by Hillary Chapin in fourth, Little Hooves Romneys in fifth, and Cadence Higgins had the sixth place ewe lamb. Seventh place honors went to Megan Dion, and likewise eighth also to Megan.
Very nice natural colored Romney show here today, and I think for your overall champion ewe, it's a pretty easy decision for me today, and we're going to use your senior champion ewe here for your overall. I just really like the power in the Shearling ewe, and extremely square and big hipped, and still a good fleeced ewe that's sound on her feet and legs, and has a good head on her. For reserve, it doesn't get any closer for me. We're going to come down and use your junior champion ewe, your first place ewe lamb here. I really like the stoutness of this ewe. I really like the rib shape. Love the traditional head she's got on her, very stout in her work, but yet she's an awful good fleeced ewe from end to end. Congratulations.
Little Hooves Romneys with the grand champion ewe, and Chapin's with the reserve. Now we got to pick out a junior show champion reserve, so you youth that had first or second place yearlings or ewe lambs, come on into the ring. Our first and second place junior show yearling ewes were shown by Cadence Higgin. We need you to bring your second place intermediate ewe lamb. And she's coming around the corner. Again, recognizing our first and second place yearling ewes. The first place ewe was shown by Cooper Chapin and Courtney Lyman with the runner-up in the yearling ewe class. Our senior ewe lamb class was also won by Courtney. And in our intermediate ewe lamb class, first place was exhibited by Megan Higgins, and the second place by Cadence Higgins. And our junior show champion ewe goes to Cooper Chapin. Let's give them a nice round of applause. And Courtney Lyman with the reserve champion ewe. Hillary Chapin won the Exhibitors Flock Award here. And the runner-up in that group went to Little Hooves Romney of New Jersey. Those of you folks here that are just visiting our complex, we're winding down the natural colored portion of our Romney show here. It's one of our featured breeds here this year. There's no changes in this group class, so they are going to win the Breeders' Flock. And an added award donated by Catherine Moore, Birch Branch Romneys of Lee, New Hampshire. Your Get a Sire class is next. While you're here, though, in the complex, if you're just peering over the fence or walking through, at 7 o'clock in this show ring, we've got a working dog demonstration is going to be occurring. And it's a wonderful presentation that you'll want to see. When the show is over, we'll have some picture demonstrations here of taking pictures of sheep, followed by the working dogs at 7. Little Hooves won the Breeders' Flock, and they're also going to win the Get a Sire class. Smiling Sheep Farm, Wes and Hillary Chapin of Milton, New Hampshire, offer an added award for the best-headed natural colored ram, as well as they did for the white ram. So this time, each one of you natural colored exhibitors may work your favorite headed Romney, ram or ewe, out here to the ring, and we're going to pick one for the best-headed award. Megan Higgins with our best-headed Romney. Congratulations. As we mentioned, this is our final competition here of the afternoon. Right after this, you'll see us taking pictures of our winning black sheep and the whites that were showed here this afternoon. And then if you came to see the working dog demonstration, you're in the right spot, because here at 7 o'clock, or close to it, Becky Peterson and her working Border Collies will give you a wonderful presentation you won't forget. It's first class and very educational. It'll be right here in this show ring in about a half hour following our completion of this show. Congratulations, Charlene Carlisle. Bring that ewe on over here for the best headed ewe. Or fleece. That's what we said. Best headed fleece. But we also want to keep Charlene here for a moment. Young man, hold that U for Charlene, because at this time we want to call Charlene Carlisle over here to our announcer's table. And Charlene, on behalf of the Eastern States Exposition, you are winning both the Premier Breeder and Premier Exhibitor Award here for the Romney Show. Let's give her a nice round of applause. Little Hooves Romneys on a job well done. Megan Higgins. Courtney Lyman, we need you over here. Courtney Lyman. In memory of Sue Stewart, who was with Anchorage Farms, Graham Stewart's, you receive a cash prize for the junior premier exhibitor here at the Big E. Let's give her a nice round of applause, please.